Hello and welcome to Connect. I'm your host, Randy Shabilo. On today's show, we'll have Father Ivan Nahachewsky talking about Go the Distance, humanitarian aid for Ukraine, as well as developer Ken Ox and his 60th anniversary of the Midwest Group. As always, we'd like to connect with you. Follow us on Facebook at ConnectYXE, catch past interviews on YouTube, email us at connectyxe@gmail.com, or leave a message at 306-665-3796. We have military chaplain and Ukrainian Catholic priest Father Ivan Nahachewsky with us today. He's going to give us some insight into what he's got planned this summer. Father, thanks for coming down to the studio.
You're welcome. Happy to be here.
I want to talk about the plan that you have, Go the Distance. Maybe just start with how the idea came to be for you.
I've done lots of adventure kind of events, partly to do just exercise so I stay healthy, partly because I'm a workaholic and this helps me to get away from the office and the telephones. It's just a good thing for me to do. I'm community minded, so I often put a fundraiser element to these kind of adventures. So basically next, on the 11th to the 18th of July, I'm going on a holiday.
And you have done previous community-minded work before. I remember you grew your hair out and shaved that off and donated for cancer patients.
I had 8 haircuts in 20 years, and my mom liked me just for 6 weeks of every 2 years. That's all. Once it got to 12 inches, cut it off, shaved it off, usually with an event, and then raised some money for cancer.
So when you look at Go the Distance, it's for Ukraine and humanitarian aid. You're taking like a sponsorship or donations, or how does that work?
So I was looking, I'm new to Saskatoon, so I've been in Saskatchewan my whole life, but in the last year I'm in Saskatoon. So I was always heard about but did not really participate in the groups that do humanitarian aid in Saskatoon. So I picked 3 groups that have long track records and are very responsible with their donations, and I'm fundraising for them actually. So whatever is collected through a website, through a donations, through whatever way, I'm going to give that to these 3 groups, and they do their thing because they're good at it.
So is it a sponsorship per kilometer, or what are the events that you're doing over that week-long holiday that you call it?
So first question first, there's no sponsorship per kilometer or anything like that. I'm looking for 300 people that'll do $100 each, or anything that adds up to $30,000. So I can give each of these groups $10,000 if it comes to that much. What am I doing? So it's kind of like a quadrathlon, one step more than a triathlon. So I'm swimming, I'm not running because I don't run very well, but I'm ruck marching. That means carrying a weighted backpack and just hiking. So 42 kilometers with 45 pounds, and then and biking. So the swimming is my kind of the new thing this time, because I've done lots of these things with long distance biking. I trained a couple years for the ruck marching, so I know I can do that. But the swimming is new. I'm aiming for 5 hours of active swimming per day. My current rate is 2 hours with no breaks. I don't have to do 5 consecutive hours, just 5 hours in a day. Let's say I can swim 10 kilometers. I'm in the river, so the river is going to push me too. So I suspect that I will be able to manage about 20 kilometers a day. When I'm done, whether I've done 10 or 25, I don't care. 5 hours, and then I get into my safety canoe, and we just canoe to our next starting point where we have a camper waiting for us, and have supper.
I think that's a key thing to raise here, because my first thought was that you'd be swimming back and forth in a pool or running on a track or carrying something. So this is actually in the South Saskatchewan River starting in Saskatoon? Or
Okay, no? So all my training has been in a swimming pool at the Shaw Center. Fantastic facility, just going back and forth. But now that it's a little bit warmer, I am starting to train in the river. I've started in the South Saskatchewan River, so just outside Saskatoon, and I'm just swimming with the currents. The place on the third day when I'm done, I end up someplace by Duck Lake, St. Laurent Shrine, and then I'm going to do the ruck march from the South Saskatchewan to the North Saskatchewan, and then I'm going to swim 2 days on the North Saskatchewan through PA to the confluence of the rivers. That means where the South and North Saskatchewan meet, and then after I get a good night's sleep, I'm going to get on my bike and I'm going to bike 183 kilometers home.
On Highway 11 or coming back through PA or somewhere?
I don't want to go through PA, so the first half of that trip will be grid roads on gravel, and the second half will be on the highway.
I can't imagine where this idea would come from, so maybe I'll go there and just say you're laying awake one night and you say to Debbie, you know what, I think I'm going to do this 405 kilometer trek. How did that come to be? So
Debbie is my wife, by the way.
Yes.
And no, I did not lie awake at night. I just like to do these things. I like to plan, what can I do different? What can I do that occupies me now? What kind of training can I do in the present so that I can focus on an event? I am kind of lazy. So if I don't have an event put on, then I won't train towards it. So I don't train just to train, but if I tell myself I'm going to do an event, then I train for it. So it's my strategy to convince myself to stay active.
So this is a way of giving back to the community and training for that ultimate goal that you have. So the equipment that you need, are there like special shoes or swimsuits that you need to buy
for
or fundraise for that?
For the swimming, for the biking, and for the ruck marching, I have different socks for all three of those. I mean, so swimming, I'm wearing a wetsuit. The water is still cold. 5 hours in the water, and it'll probably be more like 7 or 8 hours in the water for me to actually accomplish my 5 hours of swimming. So that long in the cold water, I'm going to get chilled and it'll be hard on my body. So I'm wearing a wetsuit. I have practiced with, I borrowed a headpiece from somebody, but it was way too tight on the jaw, and in 20 minutes, my jaw was sore. So anyway, I bought a new one, bigger, looser, one that if I feel it's too constrictive, I'm just going to cut the chin part off. But I need my head to be warm. And for that one, the socks are socks that go into flippers, although I'm not using flippers. That way, if I come to a sandbar, I can just walk across the sandbar. I don't need to get slivers or whatever else I can get from the sandbar. For the ruck marching, my boots are, they're probably 15 years old, and they're the best boots ever. Today I walked 18 kilometers and I put brand new shoelaces in them. So, but I have, I call them underwear socks and then overwear socks. So it's like a liner sock and then the real sock and then the boots. And that helps to reduce the possibility of blisters and sores. And I got 2 toes that are reared, so they cut into each other, so I have to tape them up before I start, otherwise it's not comfortable. And I'm also worried about wet. So if it rains during that day that I'm ruck marching and my feet are wet for 12 hours while walking, sometimes there's toenail damage and stuff like that. So I have to be careful of my socks. And the biking, it's another set of socks also.
So your military chaplaincy that you've had, that's taken you to Ukraine as well? It
has. I was Op Unifier Roto 8. That was 2018, 2019. And that was the best gig of my life. It was amazing to be a Canadian chaplain partnering with Ukraine to help them be the best they can be. And so clearly the war now, the full invasion of the war is horrific, and there's so many needs and so much trauma, so much of everything that, so when I say go the distance, I sometimes tell myself, okay, this is a little bit tough. Sometimes it's hard, but it's nothing compared to what they're going through in Ukraine. And sometimes, because I live in part of Saskatoon that's a pretty rough community, I sometimes say, my life is so soft and I'm so surrounded by comforts that I can do this and offer this for example, homeless people. I can offer this for the people in Ukraine whose house got blown up or whatever, who have no power or heat during the winter. I mean, my sacrifice is teeny compared to what other people go through. So it's just, and I pray during this stuff too. So I get to pray for the intentions of other people.
Can you tell me, when you're doing all of this work and the route that you're planning, certainly God's going to be with you. Can you share something about what you take with you on these treks that you do? Is there some...
Mentally or physically?
Mentally, yeah.
So when you spend 5 hours a day swimming, not talking to anybody, just you and your thoughts, when you spend 10 hours biking, in this case it's going to be 10 hours of ruck marching, there's lots of time to think and to pray. And often, I'll give you an example. So sometimes when it gets hard, so I had some hot spots on my feet this morning, I on purpose brought a lemon with me. I ate a lemon just like an orange, and I hate lemons. And it's weird, but when I'm eating this lemon, I quit thinking about my sore feet. So I often will implant some thoughts in my mind that say, these guys have it worse than me, therefore why am I complaining?
Well, let's try and get you over the goal that you've set for fundraising.
Awesome.
How do people reach out, or what can they email or look up online to help you?
So there is a website, a web page. Are you going to show that, or however?
Yeah, we'll put that on the screen
okay.
for people.
So there is a website, and on that website there's a connection to a Facebook page, there's a connection to an Instagram page. Things like this interview might help. I know that there's a reunion of St. Vladimir's College in Roblin, Manitoba. They're going to make a collection for me for during the reunion. I'm reaching out to friends and family in the parish and other people who I know. I'm reaching out to the military individually to see if people will contribute. So I think I'm going to find 300 people. I'm not sure yet.
I think you will, and I think you're going to do this hands down, and thank you so much for contributing back to our community, and we wish you every success every kilometer along the way.
Thank you very much, Randy.
We'll be right back, folks.